Hello my friends, welcome back to this episode of Got7 Through the Eras. And if you guys haven't watched my last episode, you guys should because I put my blood, sweat and tears into it. Anyways, in this episode we are going to discuss the era. This era has one of my favorite songs. It is so good, OMG. Anyways, shall we begin? Okay, so on the 16th of June through the 22nd of June, 2014, JYP released each member's stories. Every day between those dates, one member's story would be released until their comeback date. Kinda like a teaser. So each of the members would flirt with the camera, aka us, aka the girl. Let me just tell you how cringy this is. I tried watching some of this seriously, but I just ended up hollering. You guys should see it because it's honestly gold. Even Got7 hates their own stories.
머리 뭐야? 잘생겼는데요?
에이, 너나 좋아하지? 너나 좋아하지?
They had also released their MV teaser on the 17th of June, and their album spoiler on the 19th of June, and afterwards released their second mini album, Got Love. This comeback, they decided to have a more vibrant vibe, but still stuck to their b-boying, martial art styles. Now the music video. It was released on the 23rd of June, 2014. So it starts with the boys walking into a restaurant, and they see a server. They then fall in love with her and they dance in the middle of the place, because that's normal. They then begin to follow her, and buy the things that she likes, and then they start dancing outside of the store with random cars. In the end, the server is low-key into them. Now their hairstyles were kinda adorable I guess. So let's begin with JB. His hair was dyed black. He had his hair shaved on the side and left his hair flat down. We would see him in a hat occasionally. Mark. His hair color was a dark red color, like the previous era, but then he dyed it a brown color. He had also permed his hair, so it looked like ramen most of the time and had shaved the sides of his hair. Later on he straightened his perm and wore it down. Jackson. His hair was dyed a dark brown color. He had this Justin Bieber kind of hairstyle that looked so fluffy that I just wanted to run my fingers through them. Anyways, he had also wore hats from time to time. I guess there were a lot of hats during early Got7. Jin Young. His head was weird I guess. I don't know, but his hair was short on the sides but it wasn't too short. He had this rectangle patch of hair that was spiked on the top most of the time. He would wear his hair down sometimes. Young Jae. He dyed his hair a light brown color and had it lightly permed. It was pushed to the side or spiked and that's how he wore it most of the time. Bam Bam. He had his hair dyed white with light strands of blonde mixed in. He styled it similar to Jackson. UGM. He dyed his hair a dark gray color, then it turned into this grayish blonde hair I guess with an undercut. I think a lot of the members had coconut heads during this era. Now clothes. They had a similar clothing style as the previous era but it wasn't as hardcore. JB. He would sometimes wear tight-fitting clothes. The majority of the time he would wear simple clothing. Nothing really extreme. Mark. He had wore big-sized shirts in no particular style, color or size. Jackson. Since early Got7 Jackson was always dressed in a basketball style. I don't know but he wore clothes similar to Mark. Jin Young. Like the previous era he wore a lot of patterned button-up shirts and long-sleeved shirts. Young Jae. During this era he wore a lot of vest-like jackets. He had also wore long-sleeved and short-sleeved clothing most of the time. Bam Bam. He wore long-sleeved shirts and often wore jackets as well. UGM. He wore a mix of short-sleeved shirts and long-sleeved shirts that would be rolled up a bit. This was a jacket-heavy era, so all the members wore them often during their performance stages. Now makeup. Since this is early Got7 their makeup was still pretty light. JB. He wore a little bit of dark eyeshadow or eyeliner around his eyes, had a little bit of foundation and did his brows. Mark. He didn't wear a lot of makeup and mainly had his foundation and brows done. Jackson. He wore a little bit of eyeliner around his eyes but there was nothing dramatic. Jin Young. He wore foundation, did his brows and wore a little bit of brown eyeshadow. Young Jae. He wore black eyeliner and brown eyeshadow. Bam Bam. He wore a little of black eyeliner. UGM. He wore little to no makeup just like the previous era. Now themselves. I guess there isn't much to say for their personality, just that we got to know them better. JB. We got to see more of JB's personality in this era. We saw his funny and cute sides. Mark. Mark was still adorable like the previous era, but in some points he liked to mess with us. Jackson. Jackson was becoming more and more extra as the eras went on, and we got to see him become a big fluff ball. Jin Young. At this point he was still the mom of the group and he loved to tease UGM the most. He wasn't as extra as the other members, but he opened himself more to us. Young Jay. He was still the sunshine of the group, but he was kind of quiet. But not. This doesn't make sense, but he wasn't so crazy. Bam Bam. Like the previous era he still was kind of quiet to us, but we saw new sides to him which made him adorable. UGM. He became an unstable teenager that loved to mess with his members and tease us. Shows and achievements. You guys can already tell from the footage, but Got7 released their second season of Real Got7. This show went into the Stop It era.
Just only like it, you're having sex for breakfast, yeah.
Cute.
Just only
눈은
스케어리 캔 아니야? 싸우려고 바꾸세요? Hey, do you wanna fight?
just only just only like it.
쓰여 있어.
black and white.
As for awards, they didn't win anything besides their nominations at Mama. Okay, I guess that's everything you need to know about the era. I do apologize for the long wait. Thank you for watching. Next era we will discuss the Stop It era.